friend, this is Ellen Gulam from iHeart.com, and today we're going to be discussing top 10 plus 1 books to read to explore Islamic culture. Are you excited? Let's go! But Islam is a religion, not a culture. You are right, it is. However, this religion spread in particular regions on planet Earth. And the point of this list is to explore those cultures, those ways of thinking through books. First on my list is a personal favorite. I love this book so much. I've read it and reread it numerous times. In fact, I've read it in both English and Arabic translations to expand my enjoyment of it. None other than The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Now, Paulo Coelho, the author, is from Brazil. He doesn't come from any Islamic country. However, the ideas from the book are extracted from the Islamic religion. Second on my list is 40 Rules of Love by Elif Shafak, another book that I've read in 2 languages because I loved it so much. It's a story of the life of the mystical poet Rumi as it intertwines with the life of a modern-day woman who is dealing with real-life challenges as she discovers a manuscript that discusses the life of Rumi and how the poetry of Rumi intertwines with her life and helps her overcome the difficulties that she's going through. It is a lovely, lovely, beautiful novel that I cannot describe in words how much I loved it and how much I enjoyed it. In fact, I loved it so much, I've bought many copies of it and given them as presents to friends. And I cannot tell you how many of my friends thanked me for giving this book to them or thanked me for recommending it to them. It's a true beauty of a novel. It's one of those novels after you read it, you just go, I wish it would go on forever so that I could just continue reading more and more and more. Next on my list is My Name is Red by Orhan Pamuk. Now, this is a historical novel that takes place in 16th century Turkey. And it's one of those murder mysteries where at the very beginning of the novel, somebody's murdered, and the novel is about attempting to discover who committed this heinous crime. But it's really a story about these artists, these miniaturists, who draw in books in a very particular style that is steeped in history and tradition. It's been handed down from one master to his students over many generations. At the same time, in Italy, the Renaissance is happening or unfolding, and those events, those artistic styles are beginning to influence the artists as in their work, in their artistic output. And some people are insisting that they should stick to the traditions, and others very secretly are attempting to draw in this new modern style. So the novel is really an exploration of the East and West cultural clash through the language of colors and art and styles of drawing and philosophy of how people think about what art means. There's lots of discussion about individualism and spirituality and what does it mean to be an artist and what is the role of God and how people see God portrayed in their artwork. It's extremely beautiful. Next on my list is The Crusades Through Arab Eyes by Amin Maalouf, a historical book that describes the events when the Christian Crusades arrived in the Holy Lands in the Middle East. What is truly eye-opening and surprising about this book is how much of the events back then replicate events happening today. All the conflicts, all the arguments, all the philosophical discussions that people were having at the time, we're still having them today. And so it is very intellectually stimulating to read this book. I highly, highly recommend it. Next on my list is a beautiful, beautiful novel called The Inheritance by Sahar Khalifa. I am a huge, huge fan of the novelist Sahar Khalifa, and this would be probably my favorite novels of hers. It tells the story of an American Palestinian woman called Zaina, who is estranged from her father, and she lived all her life in the US. And she grew up hearing these nostalgic stories about Palestine from her father. And so as she faces some personal difficulties in her life, she decides to explore her roots. And so she arrives in Jerusalem to explore her heritage and meet her father's family. And as she arrives there, she discovers a completely different side to where she came from. So as she arrives in Jerusalem, she discovers layers and layers of family dysfunction. She discovers a completely different story than the beautiful idealistic story of things that her father has told her in her childhood. And so she is trying to deal with this, and at the same time she is attempting to resolve inner conflicts that she's having. It is a beautiful, beautiful story about different cultures, different ways of thinking, and about discovering your roots and attempting to become a better person, despite the fact that your roots are not very positive or idealistic. So next on my list is the plus one in this list. It's called Spoonful Chronicles, a novel that I have written. It tells the story of a Muslim immigrant who arrives in the West and attempts to unlock the secret of her destiny by remembering everything she has ever eaten. So in this novel, all her memories and emotions are triggered by the things she eats. And so to discover why she has landed somewhere very different than how she had hoped her life would turn out, she has to remember all these eating experiences and try to see the patterns in them, the negative patterns that she keeps repeating in her life. And that gives her the clue of where she went wrong in her life. It's a very light-hearted, fun book, and I think a list like this needs a few books that are just fun and breezy and enjoyable to read. Next on my list is Bird Summits by Layla Abu Layla. And this is a road trip story. It's about 3 Muslim women go on a road trip together, and really it's a story about the discovery of Muslim women living in the West and how their lives unfold. And of course, the 3 women, each one of them is very different from each other, and how they interact with each other, and how their lives have certain similarities but also stark differences, and they're trying to make things work. Next novel is Escape from Baghdad by Saad Hussein. And this novel is just mind-blowing. Imagine magical realism, but happening in the Middle East, not Latin America. So it's about 3 men in Iraq. They have to travel from point A to point B, and along the path, along their journey, they meet all sorts of characters. Some are dangerous, some are not dangerous, some of them are mythical creatures from Arabic folklore, some are historical figures that have been dead for thousands of years, and how these three men are attempting to deal with all these challenges in most imaginative and creative way. This novel is a true marvel of imagination. After I finished reading it, I was just like, wow, what did I just read? Highly, highly recommend it. On this list, I have placed Islam and Democracy by Fatma Marnisi. And this is a book that's a little bit on the academic side, however, it's not too difficult to read. It deals with ideas such as democracy, feminism, human rights, and do they contradict with Islam, and why not, and how do you explore these very modern themes within the bounds of Islam. A very interesting and thought-provoking book. On this list, I added No Sex in the City by Randa Abdel Fattah, because a list like this just needs a bit of romance and a bit of fun. Next, let's explore a book called I Who Did Not Die. It tells the story of two soldiers, one Iraqi, one Iranian, who met on the battlefield during the Iraqi-Iranian war. And instead of killing each other, they help each other out. And so it's a real-life story of two soldiers from two Islamic cultures forming a connection despite this war, this horrible, hideous war happening, and how the human connection between them wins over these horrible events. I find this book deeply touching, very inspiring, and one of the surprising things about it actually is how the romantic bits are extremely romantic. The bits where each man describes falling in love and having romantic adventures is just flowery and over the top and deeply, deeply touching. So I highly recommend this book. So there you have it, my top 10 +1 books to explore Islamic cultures. What do you think of it? Was there anything you would add? I hope you enjoyed this list. I hope you found something here that you found useful. If there's something that I've missed that you think should be added to this list, please let me know. As usual, the best way to get in touch with me is join my mailing list. Just go to my website and search for the link that says free ebook. Everyone who joins my mailing list receives a free ebook from me. See you on the other side. Bye.